Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, somewhere there.
Get
Okay.
camera up, guys.
Okay, there you are. Yeah, you're here.
Hello, hello.
Hi there.
All right, we are live, and Charles is setting up the Mixler side of things on the. You might need to turn off your website, Charles. On the Mixler side,
Yep, it's down.
and then that we don't have feedback.
Okay. Why am I not getting any feed to the Mixler board?
Okay, check your monitoring on top. Make sure you
Okay.
have your audio selected, and that can be selected line 1 or 2, whatever your headphones are, or whatever. And then on the line 2, though, basically you're going to be using line 2 for your audio, which will be this
Okay.
stream here.
Okay, I've got line 2 set for.
Should be
that.
loop. It should be loop and
Yep.
line 2, and now you should be hearing and watching
But
the.
I'm not getting anything.
Okay, reload it.
I'm not getting any.
Okay. Huh. You want me to try to do it?
Uh,
I've been trying to do the audio on this. I missed it, and there's people that are there
what the
sometimes.
heck? Why? Let me go through the settings one more time.
I guess you can try line 1. And
I thought I was getting.
Did you hit start
No.
on the Mixer side? You gotta hit start for it to work, I think. And you also
say
have
something?
to.
Okay, line 1 is working.
Okay,
Just
now
fine.
do you have
It's
the
picking me
playlist?
up. Please say something, NG.
Hi, guys.
NG.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you have a feedback. I think you have loud reverb from the microphone or something. Turn down the gain.
She
on
sounds
the
fine. She sounds fine to me.
Oh, okay. Maybe
But I
it's me.
couldn't. I'm not thinking I could hear her on.
Yeah,
line
for
2.
some reason, StreamYard doesn't
Okay,
seem to work on my
now.
computer.
All better
Oh,
now.
no. Okay, now
Okay,
do you
so
have
we're good.
on your
We
playlist?
are good.
Yeah, on your playlist. So do you have the red light on the playlist?
No.
Okay, that needs to be on so that people there.
Well, I've got to put broadcast title and stuff in first.
Okay, all right. Sorry about all this setup stuff here.
Yeah, we just decided to do this at the last minute.
Yeah, even though we had it planned, but we're doing this at the last minute. Okay,
Yeah.
just because
you told everybody but me.
Well, that's the way I am. Fly by the seat
Okay,
of the
we
pants,
are
right?
live on Mixler.
All right, and you got the red light on the playlist. That means it's going out through there, and that is awesome. So now we got the audio going to the radio station. We got the video here, and so I just like video because we're getting used to this setup. We used to use Skype, but then you had to upload it and all that stuff, and that was a pain in the neck. And at least
This
it's
way,
right here.
it's kind of one touch.
That's right.
One touch business.
You hit go live, and that's it.
It's so easy. Even we can do it.
And yeah, kind of. Amanda had to show us some tricks.
Well, yeah, with help.
All right. So MG, I'm not going to read. Maybe Charles can read a little bit about you, and since he read some of your book already.
I just finished. In the lead up to this, I read half your book.
Okay. Thank you.
I had bought it. We were trying to get you on maybe a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And you were having some difficulties, and then I said, "Well, I'll just catch that later." And since then, I'm a heavy duty reader, and I got into another big swirly rabbit hole, and I kind of forgot about it. And I said, "Well, he'll tell me give me a couple of days, and I can slide this in and take care of it." And let's see, it was I could go back. Oh, so it was like 7:00, and I didn't get the message until 8. So here, so yeah. I had all 2 hours. Now, to get everything ready.
Yeah, it's an easy read, so I purposely just kind of made it no frills and straight to the point.
So
That's
tell
okay.
us.
We all get caught up in stuff.
So just tell us a little bit about you. What's your
Okay, well,
what's your
first of all, I'm
thing?
sorry I can't get the camera up. For some reason, StreamYard, I have a problem with the camera getting that set up. So I
Okay.
can't get the camera up, but I am here. So basically, I'm a neurodivergent medium empath. I have been a medium empath my whole entire life, and I've had paranormal encounters. I'll be 45 in June, and I've had paranormal encounters 40 plus years now. So I decided to write a book, and decided to write a book and document all of it.
So what are your particular talents? I'm not sure. Like I said, I've read half your book, and it's really interesting, but I don't know yet. I haven't got to the good parts, I guess.
Oh, well,
Some of
like
it, a lot of it's up to so far has been mostly your experiences.
yeah, that's pretty much what the book is. It's just me documenting all of the paranormal encounters. I started I've been listening to a lot of paranormal podcasts over the last few years, and I started to realize that a lot of people, when they recount their experience, they always say, "Oh gosh, I'm not crazy. Don't think I'm crazy," or "You're probably going to think I'm crazy." But and that always breaks my heart when I hear that, because I want to tell people, like, don't immediately do that, because that's we need to take the shame and fear and guilt out of paranormal encounters, and recounting our paranormal encounters. We need to normalize paranormal encounters.
I think that is something that we have been working here on for the last couple of years, at least, and before that, really, but here on this platform for a couple of years, because there was whether it's UFOs or cryptid sightings or out-of-body experiences, whatever it is, up until I guess maybe the 90s, it was poo-pooed, and you were really abnormal if you were having these kind of experiences. Well, we finally woke up somewhere along the line and said, we're not abnormal, we're not crazy, we're not flipped out, we're not any of that stuff. This is a part of normalcy. It may not be something that happens every day. It may not be something that we're completely in control of, but this happens to these experiences happen to tens of millions of people.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened.
That's pretty normal.
Well, that's the thing. I was starting listening to all these paranormal experiences, and I'm thinking, my God, how many people? Because we're all in our own little worlds, and I started hearing all these people with all kinds of experiences, ranging from this to that, and there was a lot of people. I mean, I listened to a lot of podcasts every day. I used to, I live in Los Angeles, so you have to drive everywhere, and it takes forever. And so I'm constantly listening to podcasts, and I would listen to 2 and 3 a day, sometimes more. And I would hear just numerous stories of people. And again, every single time they would be like, "Well, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy." And I'm like, gosh, we got to stop this. We got to stop this fear of telling our stories. You know what you've seen, you know what you've heard, you know what you felt. We need to stop with this whole, the giggle factor, the whole being terrified of what people think. I went through that, and part of writing this book was getting over some of that. Was like, because I never really told people my story. Nobody really knew that I had all these paranormal encounters under my belt. And so when I sat down to write this book, I thought, well, this is it. I'm getting myself out there, and I'm really, I'm really going to tell everybody everything. And so it was kind of scary at first, but then I said, nope, but this is the whole point of my podcast, the Boogeyman Chronicles, and writing this book, is to get myself out there, introduce myself, tell everyone my stories, and start normalizing telling paranormal encounters, just telling our stories without fear.
Interesting. Now you finished this book in what, 2021?
Yes.
Wow. pretty new then, actually.
Yeah, I started it in July of or June of 2021.
Oh wow, that's good. Now, what is the process of is it a self-publishing then?
No, basically it was Philip Mantle from Flying Disc
Oh
Press.
yeah, he shared your contact info, and that's why I contacted you. So he shares me all the fun people to talk to. So no, I remember back in the day, and I mean that like in the 60s and 70s, when you couldn't talk about experiences of, ghosts or spirits, even though they were happening all around.
Hmm.
And I lived in born and raised in California, really strange place that state is. And there's a lot of activity and energy there from all the different lives that have been lost there. And the interesting thing is that we couldn't talk about it. We just had to keep it to ourselves. And so what I like about this time of the journey is that we can actually share what we experienced then. Of course, we might not remember all of it at this point due to our age or whatever things we've been cleared, our memory's been wiped or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, if we could have talked about it then, nobody would have accepted it, or we could have actually in California, you could be put in a mental institution back
Right.
in the mid '60s and early '70s. You didn't say you saw a UFO. You would be talking to the shrink the next day.
Yeah. That's just, actually, I know this sounds silly, but I actually really, I have to admit that, they didn't start changing until the movie Ghostbusters came out. And they started making, as silly as it was, it was a comedy movie, but it was really bringing the paranormal into the everyday world for us. And it made it vernacular. And then by the 90s, early 90s, what was it, X-Files, that's another thing that really made it vernacular, and so it made it mainstream and made it okay. And so that's that's around the time, because I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, when you did not really talk about this still, it was a very taboo subject, and the Warrens were considered kooks still then, you know what I mean? No one, unless you were in those circles, no one really talked about the paranormal. And so I remember it was Ghostbusters in like '84 that kind of started changing things a bit. I noticed that people started to, talk about the paranormal more. And then, of course, when the X-Files came out, then everybody was talking about Area 51 and the whole thing. So.
All right. Well, thank you. You should put your link up there.
See, I've come back to this, or come out of the closet on this kind of thing in probably the last 12 years. And the thing that I've noticed is I'm going back and I'm looking at some things that I absolutely refused, memories and places and things that happened that I kind of refused to look at. And sometimes I have to be careful myself, because I was involved in a conversation just the other day where they were talking, well, have you ever seen any angels or demons? And I immediately said, oh, well, no. And they said, oh, well, except for that one guy in the red Ford Torino. And that was absolutely something very special. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what it was. And he didn't hand me an ID, didn't give me a card, or anything. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, but after looking back on it and looking through it through a different lens now, that was definitely an angelic connection. So,
yeah.
See, when we do that, and we share these experiences with other people, then they look back at their own similar experiences. And there's more and more of us looking at these things again all the time. And we're accepting it as a part of ourselves, because if other people can have done that, have been there, so have we. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that is like creating a snowball effect. And the more we talk about it and the more we share, the more we're going to hear back. And we're rubbing a hole in the veil between this side and the other side.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And we have to constantly just the more we talk about it, the more shows, the more books, the more stuff that we just keep getting out there, it's going to keep normalizing it, and it's going to make it to where, I mean, look at what's happened ever since the Tic Tac video came out. There's things are a lot more open now. So every time something happens or something gets released, people will start relaxing a little bit more and say, well, hey, talking about UFOs, and it starts to take the giggle factor out of things.
Yeah, and I think I like it because it gives us the opportunity to open up and share our story that we had, what we can remember, and then if we do recall something, from several years back, then we can actually share it, and that would help us remember it even more, and not be afraid of what we experienced, and basically not really embrace it, but you know what I'm trying to say. We want to be comfortable in our own skin and accept what took place, even if we don't believe it. But at the same time, if we are able to express what we saw or share what we saw, then we can definitely, have a more stable mental shape, basically.
Sure.
And
it gives us a stable foundation to speak from. Yeah.
And if we try to keep it all bottled up, what does that do with our anxiety and everything? It just turns us upside down, So, but all right.
Well, and two, I mean, it's.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, when it comes to the paranormal, we have been, people throughout the ages have been, shamed and quieted or framed even, I mean, look at all the people after like, or not every 50, what was it? What was it? The Roswell, that kind of thing. Ever since then, I did a podcast the other day. Ever since then, the government has been, shaming people into their silence, telling them to be quiet. They're imagining things
and threatening
and causing conspiracy theories, causing disinformation. And, I see it. What we're doing now is that I think we're kind of reversing all of that. We're trying to, normalize the paranormal and our encounters and experiences. We are reversing all of that really harmful stuff that the military was and the government was doing to people who had credible sightings. They were actually seeing things, but they were shushed and told to be quiet and not to say anything, that they're crazy. And it was just really sad. I feel bad for the multitudes of people that had real traumatizing paranormal encounters and couldn't say anything and didn't believe it. That's horrible.
Well, I think there was another motivation other than just the secrecy to a lot of this stuff. Is once we accept this, that we can touch the other side, that odd things are happening. Okay, that's a power. That gives us a great deal of power. And the establishment, whether it be the church or the state or whoever, doesn't like it when we take our own power.
Right. Yes, it's true.
They never have. But this time, I think, barring some kind of terrible technological catastrophe, we've got the upper hand because we've got communications. Right. You can shame me, but you can't shame 10 million of me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's too many of us, and now people, have got have gotten to that place where like, no, I know what I've seen. I know what I've saw. I know what I heard. I know what I felt. And you can sit there and call me a crazy person all day long, but I know what I saw. And 10 other people saw the same thing. So, you know what I mean? It's getting to the point now where the government, I think it's the cat truly is out of the bag. The government and the military can't shame people anymore. They're actually admitting to things now. They're like, yeah, we videotaped this thing and we don't know what it is, and it's not us, So I think even they're kind of like, okay, well, there's only so much we can keep quiet,
Yes.
And now they're kind of, I think everything's coming full circle. I think they're kind of starting to realize like, oh, wait a minute, we can't. There's so many people out there. They've seen things, they filmed things, and we can't shut people up anymore. It's out of their hands. It's just really out of their control now, which is good.
Oh, I think so too. Absolutely.
Question about your book, and with the cover of your book, who or what is the boogeyman, if you will?
Well, to me, I mean, in my household, the boogeyman was anything that was scary. Anything that was, if like, say, like we were home and then all of a sudden there was, a knock at the door, nobody was there, or there was some, creepy sound. My father would always go, oh no, it's a boogeyman, So the boogeyman really encapsulates anything that has terrified anyone. The boogeyman could be reoccurring abductions, or shadow people or whatever it is to whoever, you know what I mean? To me, the boogeyman is just a catch-all term.
Maria, what's your interpretation of the boogeyman? You're a southerner. You're a southerner too. I remember them scaring me with about don't go out there. The boogeyman will get you.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, so it's been around. It's been around for a long time.
Boogeyman has been. That's the best way to keep your kids inside if you didn't want them to go outside or shut the closet door or whatever. The closet monster.
Yeah.
Don't go down there. The boogeyman will get you.
That's right. Charles, and I'm going to interrupt for just a second, but Charles, I want to show you what's coming your way.
Ooh. Oh, it's here, dear. Isn't it?
You already have it?
Isn't it beautiful?
It is
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get like 4 beautiful inches tonight.
Yeah, we were supposed to get like 1 to 2, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, you're going to get 4+ inches, and I'm like,
well, geez, good.
But yeah, I've enjoyed hearing what you're talking about, MG. I'm a ex-paranormal investigator, I guess you could say, because I haven't done it in almost 4+ years now, but 4 years. But
then you're not an ex. You're just in what do they call
semi-retirement.
Like a professor takes a sabbatical. Thank you.
Yeah.
The words escape me sometimes. They try to. But I like help. You're on sabbatical.
It's just incredible because I'm hearing. Sorry, my dog's in the background. You're going to hear, and I'm going to have cats and all this stuff running around tonight. But it's so interesting. What I take for granted that is truly paranormal experiences. To other people, it's one of my paranormal experiences could have sent somebody else into just like a tailspin. And it's I guess to me it's just I'm just kind of like, big deal, whatever, no big deal. It's just another day. When you go to you have your paranormal hat on, and then you take it off that night, and then you put your work hat on. You come home from work and you put your family home hat on. And I think I take that for granted because I'm able to differentiate that. And there's a lot of people who can't do it. They get one paranormal experience and it destroys their life.
Yeah, it causes a pretty severe trauma, and that's another reason why I wrote this book and started my podcast, was because of a thing that I call paranormal PTSD, where you know, if you don't, I don't care if you don't believe in the paranormal, you have to realize that this person has seen or heard or felt something happened to them to where their brain registered it as a trauma, and they are reliving it. And, you know, I always go back to, you know, my first guest on my podcast was Terry Lovelace. And, you know, we all know Terry, and you know, the poor guy, I mean, he still has to sleep with the lights on. And, you know, he's in his 70s, and he's still very traumatized by something that happened, you know, 45 years ago. So, you know, it's just, paranormal PTSD is real, and I want to bring all that to light, because people need help. People need to talk. Talk therapy is very helpful to people, and so that's why I created my podcast in the first place, was to create a safe space for people to talk about their paranormal encounters without fear and without judgment. You can stay anonymous if you want. That's totally up to you, but people need to talk and not be afraid. You know.
Yep, I agree 100%. And I hadn't really thought about it that much before, but when people are in denial of something and they deny it to themselves, they say that couldn't have really happened, you know, or that didn't happen, or I'm just making it up, or something else is going on, you know. That creates a conflict in your mind, and the conflicts in your mind are one of the root causes of PTSD, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will raise my hand first on all of this. I was very much, you know, up until even a few years ago, I had some pretty scary encounters with something in my apartment and other things. And I always constantly excused my encounters. I told myself, no, you're crazy. You're not really seeing this or feeling it, hearing it. And I kept telling myself that. And so I'll be the first one to admit, you know, I was in total, not so much denial. Like, I knew it existed. I knew it happened, but there was a part of me
you couldn't talk to someone else about it.
Yeah.
In an open fashion, in a general fashion. So that's a kind of denial. Exactly.
And just for me, my own peace of mind, I had to kind of I had to just kind of say, no, you didn't say, you know, until something actually attacked one of my friends. And I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, I can't keep denying this, you know. So that was kind of the start of me going, okay, I am a paranormal person, whether I like it or not. I am an empath. I'm a medium. I see things, I feel things, and I can't really shut that off. I can dim it, but I can't shut it off. And this is who I am. This is what I do. And I will forever have experiences, and I can't really stop those. And I have to stop denying it. I have to stop doubting myself and my abilities. You know, that was when I had something in my apartment in Los Angeles about 7-8 years ago. I really had to come to terms with that and accept my abilities. And it was really hard. It was not easy, but that's another reason why I wrote this book and started the podcast, was to kind of get myself out there, because I'm telling you, even my closest friends did not know that I had constant paranormal experiences. They had no clue.
Yeah.
Now, Charles, I sent you some pictures of the book. Can you share the cover?
Where did you send them?
To Skype.
Okay. Earlier today?
Yeah. Also, I sent them to Maria, but we're trying to learn how to do this correctly. And
I wish I'd have thought. Okay, I will go ahead and talk. All right, I'll go ahead and get those set up.
So, what was this energy in your apartment? Can you share that, or is that still?
Yeah, I included it in the book because it was a big part of my life. So in 2011, I moved out to Los Angeles from the South, and it was a culture shock, but I was dealing with it. I was coping and doing well. And around 2012, I had some really great neighbors that lived across the way from me, and they moved out, and I was really sad. And then there was this horrible family that moved in after them, and these people were mean to their kids and mean to their dog. That right there, I automatically hated them. Like, if you're going to be mean to screaming at their animals and kid, it was just I already hated them. I was like, that's it, I hate these people. So anyway, they brought a lot of weird energy with them, because once they moved in, everything changed. The energy of the entire place changed. And all of a sudden, I noticed that when I went out to walk my dogs, I would come back to my apartment and it felt like somebody had been in my apartment. It felt like someone was just right in there and had left. And I started to get really freaked out, to where it felt like someone was in my apartment. So I started, like, every time I came back, I checked under the beds, I checked in closets, I checked my shower curtain, everywhere. Checking.
Did you think it was a spirit, or did you think it was your neighbors that were not very nice?
No, it was definitely a spirit. It was definitely something. But at first I didn't really know. And again, I was doubting myself. I'm like, oh, come on, you're just imagining things. Kept denying it. And so it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where, I mean, every single time I left, and I would lock my door when I would leave, and I would come back and it felt like somebody was standing right there. It felt like somebody was right in my apartment. And again, I mean, every day, this was daily. I was checking behind, doors and in closets. I mean, because it really felt like someone had snuck in. So basically, things escalated. I started to see really sort of shadowy figures around the place, and I would just kind of excused it. I was like, no, because at this point I'm by myself, and it was terrifying. And so I remember one night I was laying in bed watching TV, and I remember I kept feeling in this one corner this entity that, again, I denied it. I was like, no, but I kept seeing this entity, and it, for all the world, it looked like the girl from The Ring. And I thought, okay, now I'm crazy. Why would I be seeing this? I don't watch horror movies. I don't really know this character well, but I live in Los Angeles, so I see billboards, and so I figured I probably saw, a bill, and maybe I was just one movie. Okay, I'm not even looking at whatever it was, he was looking at it, because his little head walking back and forth, and oh crap. So that was my first, like, okay, he sees it now. And then a few nights later, I remember I was sitting there.
I think we've lost MG.
Okay, she'll be back. Okay, yeah, you're cutting out. I don't know if it's a signal, if your Wi-Fi, that could be an issue.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda.
So, kinda. Oh, darn. I'll try. So what happened was, I saw this wispy shadow form, and it glided about 3 feet across the floor, and then it dissipated. And I was like, oh my God. So I grabbed the dogs and I ran outside and went for the longest walk of my life. And then I noticed a few nights later, the same in a different part of the room. And I thought, well, that's it. I'm just going to have to sit there. And, I acknowledged right then and there that I was a medium, and that I was going to be able to talk to this thing. I have to talk to it. I have to find out what it wants, because it wouldn't go away. I mean, I was praying, holy water, Bible scriptures, blessed salt, sage. I mean, everything you can think of I was doing, and this thing would not leave. So I sat down and said, hey, what do you want? And I think to this, I felt like it was a woman. Again, it looked like the girl from The Ring, and she felt like she was attached to the woman that had moved in across the way. And she basically was trying to communicate, but she was mentally disabled in a way that it was very hard for her to communicate. And I have done medium work where, if someone is mentally disabled in life, they have pretty much the same abilities in death. It's very hard for them to communicate. So this entity was trying to communicate as best as she could to me that she had been committed sometime in maybe like the 30s or the 40s. She had been committed, and her family left her there. And so apparently she was some sort of aunt to the lady that had moved in next or across the way. And so she was attached to her. And for some reason, she was attached to me now. And so about a week or so later, and again, I didn't tell a soul about this. I just thought, I don't know who to tell, you know? And so I remember about a week or so later, I had a friend named Joe who was a bit transient, and he said, hey, can I just crash on your couch for a few days? And I said, of course. So I went to the bus station, picked him up, and I, you know, gave him a book, and he was falling asleep on the couch, and I said, okay, look, if you need to go back in the bathroom, you know, if you need go raid the fridge, whatever. So I was just kind of telling him this stuff. And so he was falling asleep as I was talking to him. He was so tired. So I went back in my room, shut the door, you know, and I heard a scream from the living room, up, run out. I'm tripping over dogs and everything. And I run out there, and my friend Joe is sitting on the edge of the couch, and he's grabbing his neck, and he's there. What happened? You know, and he said something trying to attack me. And I said, what are you talking about? And I looked at the you know, I locked the doors. I had 3 locks on my doors. All the windows were locked. Nobody else was in that apartment but he and I, my dogs. And so I was like, what are you talking about? So he told me that as soon as I left and went into my room, he said the energy of the room changed. And he said it got very yucky. It's just a very yucky feeling. He also opened his eyes, and he said, and you know the girl from The Ring? And I said, yeah. And he said, she was floating above me. And I was like, oh crap. So, you know, he said that he opened his eyes, he saw the girl from The Ring floating above him, and he said he got the impression that she was protecting me or something. So he told her, okay. And this, he immediately felt a hand around his neck, and he felt like air was being, and he was being attacked for, you know, a good few seconds. And he said he screamed my name, and I said as soon as he screamed my name, she turned and just flew out the window.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was my encounter, and it never really left. I mean, I prayed, I, you know, saged the place. I did everything I knew to do to get rid of this thing, and it would not leave. And so, you know, Joe left after, you know, a day or so. I can't believe he actually stayed, actually, but he left, and I had to live there for the next couple of years, and it was pretty terrifying. You know, there was a lot of things happening, but I had to like learn to live with this thing after a while.
Yeah. Have you ever considered to do a walk around in your spirit self to try to communicate with them?
Yeah, I mean, I've done that. I did that when I was trying to communicate with it, and
Okay.
you know,
And you didn't get any more answers than what you already had?
no, I didn't. You know, it was a very odd case. You know, I've never had something stick around like that. I never had something absolutely refuse to leave. So this was the first time this ever happened to me, because anytime I've ever had any sort of intrusive encounters with entities, I would always just, you know, tell them to leave, or I would pray or something, and they would go. I used to do a lot of paranormal work with my mother, and we would have to do a lot of clearings and cleansings of places, and it always worked. But for some reason, this entity did not want to leave, and I don't know why. I'm still stumped to this day about it.
Well, interesting. I have some incidences in this house that I can't explain. Not that I'm giving too much energy or credit to it, you know, so it doesn't uh, give me any more. I don't want to give it any more time to think it has any more power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I hear whatever it is. I've seen a woman in a white kind of dress, like not a wedding dress, but like an 1800s type dress. Now this house was built in 1945. So, but the spirits don't necessarily have to be connected to the house. They can be connected to the land.
Exactly.
So I learned that real quick. And
Yeah.
I saw a small boy, like about a 10-year-old boy, in his you know, like the old school clothes that they'd wear, like in the 1880s or so. They'd be going off to the schoolhouse and they'd
Mm-hmm.
wear that little vest and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Little hat and boots or whatever they had. And so that was kind of weird that I saw that, and he would come up behind me behind my chair and tap me on my shoulders on each side, and I felt that clearly. It wasn't my imagination. I actually felt someone tapping me on the shoulder, on the side of my arm, actually. Like he'd say, "Tag, you're it," or whatever, and then you'd hear him running away, and be like, "I'm not getting up. I'm gonna stay right here. If you want to talk to me, you're gonna have to come out here and talk to me face to face, right here where I'm sitting." So, but he never did. But anyway, I knew that he was there, and then I saw an old man that would smoke. In the pipe, he'd smoke cherry tobacco. I could smell cherry tobacco, and he had on a hat, like a rim hat, not like the cowboy hat, but like the, you know, Joe Friday type rim hat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he had on a kind of a suit, a brown suit with dress shoes, and he looked like a salesman of the 1930s. And he had an old complexion as far as his character and his face and everything like that. Nothing scary. I didn't feel any negativity. Just kind of like, what the heck am I seeing? And this was visually, I was seeing this. I was not imagining it. I was not imposing it on my mind. I was actually seeing these characters. I had a friend of mine, a Reiki master and psychic medium. You might know her, Tanya Medea, who is my friend. We met Tanya and Joey Medea, Charles and I did. But Tanya had done a walkthrough of my house before I told her any of this. Okay. And she said, "Okay, I saw an old man in the basement working on a project." And that's when I heard I have heard banging coming from the basement, like doors slamming, which there's no doors down there. I heard things like someone pounding on a hammer, using a hammer on a project. And like, there's nothing down there that's going on. Oh, why am I hearing this stuff? And then when my friend Tanya told me about this, it's like, well, that's the old man that I've been hearing. Then okay, now I know that. Who he is, I have no clue. I don't have any clue. I tried to find out some names of who was here, but like I said, this house was built in 1945, so it couldn't be that because it's not that old. But the property, on the other hand, this is we have the national monuments, the petroglyphs here in my town. 10,000 years old or so. So that we get all those spirits. Native American, whatever, and anyway, then there's the lady I told you about. There was two ladies actually. There was one that I figured out her name. Or actually, Tanya did. What happened was I told her to go and talk with Tanya, and Tanya lives in Ohio, and a few states away, right? And the interesting thing was that Tanya was doing a walk around of her own house one night, 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever. She told me this. I don't know why, but anyway, she explained that she saw the woman that we were talking to in this house. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I asked that woman to go talk to Tanya to help her get home to where she had to go. You know what I mean? And and so anyway, um, what was interesting was I didn't see that woman again, and so apparently Tanya helped her get home. Now she saw an older gentleman behind her, which was the guy that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now they're still here, and so is another woman that I can't figure out who it is. Now I have closed off a mirror that was in my hallway that was some kind of a portal that Tanya recognized. She said, "Oh, there's some major energy coming off that mirror, even though it's a newer mirror." And I don't think that matters.
Mm-hmm.
The spirits or energy can come through any mirror.
Yeah.
And so I covered it with some cardboard and just left it alone. I could still feel an energy there when I walked past it, but it's not scary. I just know it's there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then just I kind of maybe upset them because I blocked off that one part. But there's another portal somewhere down in the basement. I don't know where. But anyway, again, I'm not afraid of it. Then the other thing that I have a gift. My mom passed away in 2012. I never thought about talking to her or writing to her or, whatever, communicating with her or anything after she passed. She's gone. I moved away from home a long time ago, but what was funny was my mom's favorite bird was a California kingfisher. You know what those are, right?
I think so.
Northern California, they're giant bluebirds, or blue jays, actually. They're giant blue jays. We called them kingfishers, and they used to fly over the river and they get the fish. That's what they do. They're like your eagles or whatever. They were a small eagle, practically, how big these things were. Mm-hmm. We have a small blue jay here, but it's still a blue jay, and it reminds me of that kingfisher with the design of how it looks. And so in January, I said the intentional request, if my mom has a message for me, I want to see a blue jay. And before the winter was over, this was, late January, still winter, and the blue jay comes and lands on my railing on the front porch. And it's like, well, hello, Mom. I didn't get any message from it, but that gave me the sign that, okay, I'm on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are all connected in that way. And what do you think about that? We're all kind of connected. I told you all that just to make that point, that I believe we are all kind of connected in that way to nature, and the nature gods or Mother Nature, however you want to say it, will actually give us that opportunity if we are open to it, to understand it and be aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes we can hear messages or see messages by their character. And so have you had anything like that happen?
Oh God. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct. We all interconnected. I don't think the paranormal, the spirit realm is way out there somewhere. I think it's right happening all around us. And I always liken it to, like, when you read about Scrooge and how the ghost of Christmas Past was taking him into different homes, and how, he could see them and hear them, but they couldn't see and hear them. And that's kind of how I view the paranormal. At least that's how I've always, my experience with it is that every time I go into a place and I have, a spirit run up to me and say, oh, hey, you can see me. Great. Awesome. It's like they're relieved that I can actually see them and hear them. And I had a relative that passed away, and they loved monarch butterflies. And when this person passed away, actually when this person was in hospice, every time I would go outside, I would be literally attacked by monarch butterflies. I would be swarmed by them. And then when this person passed and I moved to California, anytime I would ever talk about this person, bring them up in a conversation, think about them even, I would be out walking my dogs, or I would be just like, oh, I wonder, if so-and-so's okay. All of a sudden, I would see a monarch fly right in my face. So that whole thing is absolutely true. And my mom was, my mom had a lot of sisters. And so my mom would talk to my Aunt Peggy because Aunt Stevie had passed away. And so Aunt Stevie and Aunt Peggy had a weekly conversation it was like Sunday at 10 o'clock. They would always call each other and talk and catch up on the week. And when Aunt Stevie passed away, Aunt Peggy called my mom and said, I got to talk to you about something. She said, you know how like Aunt Stevie and I always talk to each other on, Sundays at 10. And my mom was like, yeah. She goes, ever since Stevie died, every Sunday at 10 a.m., the phone rings, I pick it up and nobody's there. And that happens for several weeks after Aunt Stevie died. So, our loved ones are right there. You know what I mean? They're not out floating somewhere. Yes. They don't go, they don't disappear. They're right there. They want to help us.
Now, when that silent phone call happens, is there a way that we can I mean, I haven't had it with the cell phone, but you know that there are things around here that happens, like when I smell flower smell, you know, a floral smell or whatever you want to call it, you know.
Mhm.
And like I can't remember what the name of the flower is now, but I do smell it as a flower, and
Like a lilac.
yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah, that could be it, yeah. And I don't have anything like that as far as perfume in the house, you know, so that's just kind of weird that I even smell that smell. Now, the cherry smell, somebody had recommended that, well, if your basement is basically unfinished and you got open beams that are cherry wood, that would be your cherry smell. You know, and
Yeah.
that could
Okay.
be very, very well, you know,
Yeah.
and that made sense to me, and okay, I'll accept that. But when I'm sitting here in my chair and I see a puff of smoke come out like from a cigar, like, wait a minute, that's
Right,
not
that's not
that's
the
not the
beam
wood.
smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not smoking. That's not beams in the basement. What is that smoke?
All
I've seen
right,
that.
I've got a question that was sent to me from Neutron for
Uh-oh.
MG.
Ah,
If others ever reported encountering the boogeyman during sleep paralysis.
Ooh.
Oh gosh, I've heard a lot of stories, and I'm sure you guys have too, of
Mhm.
sleep paralysis. I mean, I had a particular encounter where I wasn't asleep. I mean, there was two encounters I had where I was asleep. I woke up, sat up on my elbows, and kind of looked around the room and was like, "What the heck's going on?" And then I laid back down, and all of a sudden, something sucked the air out of my lungs to the point where it was suffocating me. And I could not breathe, and I did not know what to do. And it felt like an eternity, and my whole entire body was pinned to the bed. And it was the most terrifying thing I've ever been through. And because my life was flashing before my eyes at that point, and I literally just didn't know what else to do but to pray. And then all of a sudden, it let up. But I did remember just kind of in my own mind, just kind of looking at the foot of the bed and, kind of seeing a Voldemort type character, standing there. This particular home that I was in had a lot of malicious activity. And I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many, because we're vulnerable when we're sleeping. So, I mean, how many encounters have you guys have heard or have had yourselves where you, either were asleep or you knew someone was asleep and something just attacked them?
Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother story I could share.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's not happened to me. Seriously.
okay. I've got those pictures ready now. I think I'm going to try to share them,
Oh,
but
good.
I'm going to have to grab the screen to do that. So let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. Hey, beam.
So while he's bringing those up, oh, there it is. Nope, there it's going.
There you go.
There it is. Okay.
How long ago? How long ago was
There's
this?
our guest.
that was a couple years ago.
Okay.
And
Andy, calm down. I know you're going to put something out there in chat. Just saying.
Andy's from the UK. He's a little different.
Andy's from England.
That's a very interesting cover.
Yeah, it is. I actually had another cover, and Philip picked.
Ah, he has a knack for eye-catching covers.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to
Oh, we've kind of lost her
release
again.
this back. We'll just keep faith, and hopefully she'll return very shortly.
Yeah.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. You cut out a little bit there.
Oh,
just
yeah.
for a few seconds.
That's weird.
No worry. We got patience here. We got nothing but time.
The Midwest doesn't care for the West Coast, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not from California.
So I after reading half your book, I still don't get it geographically. Where were you? Like the Panhandle of Florida when you were?
I have lived all over. I've lived in Texas. I've lived in North Carolina. I lived for a bit in Florida. So, I mean, I've lived these encounters took place all over the place. So it wasn't one particular state or town. It was all over. Yeah.
Hmm. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a Southern girl, so I prefer the South. I can't wait to get out of LA, to be quite honest.
Well, I have a thing for places. I can kind of feel the energy of a particular
Me
place
too.
sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
And-
Me too. Yep.
It's not all the time and not every place, but sometimes it really smacks me in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And
It does, yeah.
There really aren't words to explain that kind of feeling that you get.
Yeah,
I had one experience not too long ago. I was at a historical reconstruction, okay, at a like a pioneer village, and they had a wigwam, which is like a rounded hut,
Mhm.
okay, with skins and bark that the Indians used, and it was his display, and I bent over to go into it, and just for a moment, as I was getting into that wigwam, I saw the inside. I saw the furs. I saw like corn and herbs hanging from the ceiling of the wigwam, and I felt like I was stepping into my own living room, into home. And that was a strange feeling, but it's. And how can you really explain that? You can describe it, but you can't.
Mhm.
And it's not I was thinking of that.
Right.
I just, through that moment that I stepped through that door, I was there.
Yeah.
Just for an instant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing
So-
happens to me. I go to
Okay.
certain places and I can feel a time frame. I can feel like the 1940s. Like when I lived in Florida, I would go to certain towns and I could feel like it was, I mean, I would walk around and clearly it's like the 80s, but I'm walking around feeling like I'm in the 1940s and it's wartime. And I can see,
Oh, my.
if I close my eyes, I can see the planes taking off. I can see the women with the way they were dressed and the men in the uniforms. And I can see this. And I'm like, why am I seeing this? And that happened to me. I mean, it still happens to me. There's times when I'll walk around in LA and there's a lot of 1920s. Yeah, there's a lot of 1920s buildings here. And I'll walk around and I'll feel like I walked right back into the 1920s. It's kind of creepy and weird, but it's kind of cool at the same time,
Yeah.
You probably walk into those buildings and know where everything is, I bet.
Yeah, it's such a strange feeling. I literally feel like I walked through a veil of some kind.
Yes. A portal.
A portal, yeah. It's just like you walk,
Yes.
like whenever there's like a curtain or something, like you walk right through a curtain and it's just like the feelings change and it's like, well, it almost sounds interdimensional to me. Like we live in different dimensions. There's different slices of time. And who's to say that, and I mean, how many times have we read about time slips where people literally will turn around and they'll see this particular bar. There was a story I read about a lady who literally walked into this place and it looked like a sort of 1970s 80s bar, and then they were like had this weird experience, her and her friend, and they left, and then they went back the next week and the whole place was closed down, and they asked somebody like, where did the bar go, and they're like, that place hasn't been open in 40 years.
Yeah. Love those stories.
Yeah. So I think we're getting a taste of that.
Yeah. That's interesting. I have a term I use for my time issues. I do know about time slip. I know about deja vu. I know about time slips or time skip, whatever you call it. I have another. There's many different names, but I come up with my own name called time differential. What happens is something weird happens just for a second, and you're in the same day, you're in the same whatever, same town, whatever. You haven't gone anywhere, but yet something just is out of place.
Yeah.
All right. And so here's what happened. Several times here, I live in the middle of cornfields. It sounds like a movie almost.
Mhm.
But I'm in a small town of 369 people. Okay. It takes me half an hour to get to the grocery store in Wyndham, which is a little ways away, 30 minutes away, driving at 60 miles an hour. Because you don't want to get a ticket out here. And get a suspended license and have to walk or get a ride from the bus or whatever. And that would be.
You have buses?
Yeah, we have one community bus that comes out here,
Oh,
but
my.
you have to call it like a day ahead before you gotta go.
Like only on Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. So I would prefer to keep my license and my driving abilities, and so I abide by the speed limit. And anyway, as I'm driving down one road, I see a car coming towards me. All right. Now there's no place for this car to turn. There's one road that's on in between me and that car. They didn't turn on that road. The car did not come past me. It just vanished. I don't know what that was about. I also saw a car behind me, which it was going faster. I could see it catching up to me as I'm driving 60, and it's catching up to me. So I know it's going faster than 60. And then all of a sudden, it should be passing me, but it's vanished. It didn't turn off anywhere. All right. And so this is what I call a time differential. You're in the same place, same time, and something just weird happens. Now, there's another time when my friend Mike was driving, and we were going to Walmart, which is a 2-hour drive from here. So you're talking about a 4-hour drive round trip. And Walmart, for getting groceries is probably one of the better choices if you're going to buy a bunch of it, and then stock it up in a little while. But then as we're driving, I needed to get gas, and I saw there was a gas station on the left side. Now you've heard about this where buildings disappear, and there was a gas station on the left side. And I'm thinking, oh, good, we can get that on the way back. Then on our way back, the gas station is not there. And there's only one road that we're going down to get home, and it's like, where did that gas station go? And that's just really weird that happened. And that happened a couple of times with some recognizable buildings and things like that. There was also one day when we were driving to Walmart, and we saw a herd of deer, which I don't see very many deer, but I saw like maybe 20 deer in a whatever you call a herd, and they're all running across. I haven't seen very many deer, which is good. I hit one once, and it's not fun.
Oh.
But and luckily I wasn't going. I slowed down enough, and he got across most of the way. I hit him like on his back quarter, and he limped off, but I guess he was fine. But I didn't have any more deer problem after that, I guess. But the thing is, when I saw that group of deer or herd of deer, whatever, it was like, well, that's kind of odd. Why would they be going over there, and where did they come from? And I got to thinking, what if they just got dropped off? Someone just dropped them off there, and they're like, where are we at? And they're as confused as I am looking at them, and they're thinking, where the heck are we?
Yeah.
And of course, they don't have the mental capability to sort it all out. They're just hungry and trying to get food and stay warm. And so that was just another odd experience that I've had. I had a situation where I walked into the bank. We were going to go to Junction Casino. I can't remember what the actual name of the casino is, but it's just an hour and a half away for a drive. And I went to the bank in town. I got $100 for the casino, which I do very well at the slots, but I try to stay away from that because I can really spend a lot of money there. And I don't really like to do that. If I'm going to spend money, I want something to show for it, And so, anyway, I go into the bank. I'm driving. I pull up. My friend Mike is in the passenger seat. I go into the bank. I talk to the teller in the bank. I get my $100. I walk out, but the only thing I remember is getting out of the car and then getting back into the car. And my friend Mike said, "Did you get the money? You got the $100?" I said, "Yeah, I got it in my pocket." I don't remember talking to the teller though for 20 minutes or whatever. That's weird. And that's what I call a time differential. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you think like a transmission, from in the old cars when they had rear wheel drive, you had to go from the engine to the transmission to the drive shaft to the differential in the rear end.
Younger folk do not understand that. So.
Right. So anyway, the mechanics of that differential help take the torque of the drive shaft and the transmission, and it didn't break your axle. It helped your axle survive. And so anyway, think about that and the way that works. So you're going through a process of the normal time, and then something happens weird, and you think, wait a minute, what is that? And then all of a sudden, it just goes away. There's one word I can tell you. There's like 3 horses that were in the field, and there was white horse that looked like a piece of plywood, like a plywood horse, flat edge on, and not like a regular horse that's round and healthy and eating and everything like that. And this white horse was just like a board, a plywood board, and it was like,
"Here's your white horse, Ron."
yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of weird because I looked at it for a second, and then I looked again, and it was normal horse. But why did I see that flat piece of wood? So,
Ron, you're cutting out now for some reason.
Oh no,
Mm.
I shouldn't be cutting out.
Well, you did there at the end of it, but I would like to ask, what's your opinion of what people call shadow people?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question because I don't actually know myself. Because I mean, someone would call it a demon, and someone would call it an actual, entity or a malevolent entity. I've seen a few of them, and I never got a good feeling from them. There was never like, oh, whatever, it was always just a really yucky feeling. So I don't think there's anything there. I don't think there's anything good from them,
Well, I can tell you that I've had my own experience with one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just the way that he showed himself, because I think it was an actual spirit, human, ghost, whatever you want to call it, because he didn't confront me. But to me, that this was a gentleman that was a Confederate soldier that used to guard this home.
Mm-hmm.
And when he confronted me, I was looking up at him. I mean, he come and stood straight in front of me. And
Wow.
I got all of the hair all over my body that stood up to attention. I wasn't afraid because it seemed like he was checking me out to see who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turned and he left. That's been the only... that experience, and then the creeper thing that crawls up the walls.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That'll freak you out.
Yeah, those little impish ones. Oh God, those are terrifying.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But that's been not the only shadow person I've had an experience with, and this has been the same one that's been reported to run men out of that house. Giving them panic attacks and things like that. And the funny part about most of the men that was ran out of the house by this shadow person, they were all Northerners. They were all born in Ohio or New York or someplace like that.
Oh wow. They're all Yankees.
So to me,
we have our own kind of a psychic menagerie,
Actually,
I think
I'm the only
Spindly was, and what was the one? Shadow Man, and
Hat Man.
Hat Man.
There's a Hat Man.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mothman, Dog Man. They all seem to have a different but more than one person sees these kinds of entities.
Mhm.
Each person gives their own version, but pretty much sticks to the basics of each particular type. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
there's the tall grays, you know, there's the little skinny grays, there's the mantis. All these different entities seem to have a particular calling card, you know, and because see, you would think if this were just something made up, everybody would have their own particular version, their own particular. Someone who had a arachnophobia would see spider beings, or cockroaches, or whatever. But it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, how many times have you, you know, had like say the Zimbabwe children's school? Remember that one? You know, John Mack was investigating, and all those kids saw that UFO, and they all drew something not drastically different, but they all drew what they kind of saw in their own mind, what they remembered, you know. And so, you know, some of the aliens had clothes on, and some of them, you know, the kids drew them without clothes or something, you know what I mean? They were all different. So I think when people have a paranormal encounter, it could be either how that thing is showing itself to you, or it could be just how your brain is processing it. I mean,
yes,
you know,
yes, that's
you really don't know.
Now, where was that case at the schoolyard? Was that in
South Africa?
It's in Africa, Zimbabwe.
Africa, okay. And the teachers didn't say very much. They were only asking the kids.
But it turns out the teachers were threatened practically with their lives not to say anything about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, sorry, I lost my voice there. Here's a question from Yuffie. What about the little critters with red glowing eyes that aren't raccoons or animals?
I've never had any encounters with those. I did have an encounter with an impish thing one time that attacked me when I was a kid, but I've never seen any red glowing eyes, thank God.
Yes, that is a very good thing. I don't know. I think Andy's eyes glow red at night, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of think there's so much that we call paranormal. There's a lot of people use that term because they don't. Paranormal is something that's different than their normal. What we call paranormal is like what I can be sitting outside talking to Charles, and then there's this orange glowing light that goes floating through the sky, and then it just freaking disappears. So those are the things. I mean, like you said, it is traumatic to people that don't understand it, and they don't know how to research it, or they don't have a support system. They don't have weirdos like us to deal with stuff like that. Who do you go to if someone comes to you and they're not taking your word for it that the paranormal is actually normal? Who do you send them to? What's your advice with that?
You know, I haven't really dealt with them a whole, but I always, you know, there's always someone that, you know, I think you should have someone. I know Keith Johnson from Ghost Hunters. He's a really lovely person. I also know Andrea Perrin. She's really lovely. If I have any, you know, people come to me that have like some major paranormal issues, I always refer them to somebody that kind of specializes in those kinds of things, or at least, you know, have been through it. They, you know, Andrea Perrin has been through all kinds of stuff. So, or Paul Eno, you know, I interviewed Paul for my show, and he's a wealth of information and support. You know, he's very kind and helpful. So there's always someone. And thankfully nowadays everyone's got, everyone that has a podcast has a website or an email address or something, you can always write anybody. I mean, that's how I started out. I actually had an issue with my stepmother. I had a stepmother that was very evil, and she came back a few times, and I actually contacted Keith Johnson, and he contacted Andrea, and we had a thing. We talked about that. So that was my reaching out to him, because I really didn't know what to think about all that.
Interesting. I like that.
That is pretty crazy, because and you kind of seem like when you run into these situations, there's always something out there that's bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness for not having the ego, that you're not afraid to say, I don't know about this, I've not experienced this, here, let me find someone to help you, because there's so many people out there in the paranormal community that just throw their hands up and say, oh, well, I can't help you, you're not my problem anymore.
Yeah. That's not good. I mean, it's all about support. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing these podcasts. That's why we're writing the books, and that's, you know what I mean. And it should be like that anyways. And people should be helping each other. I mean, it's really, to me, the paranormal world should be one big support group, one big support system.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all
Yes.
seeing and feeling and experiencing things that is said not to exist, and here we are seeing things and what have you. And we should be able to contact, a person and say, I don't know what the hell's going on here, can you help me, or do you know someone who can? And we should all band together and be helping each other. I'll be the first to admit, you know what I mean, I don't feel really, really comfortable in doing cleansings or clearings of places. I'm pretty good at diagnostics, if you want to know what's in if you want to know what's in your house or your land. I'm real good at that, but as far as clearing and cleansing, I really don't think I'm that good. So I always prefer to, someone who can do that. And I think that's what it should be. The paranormal world should be just a giant network of people who is, it's not a pissing contest. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be anyways. It shouldn't be someone out doing, I've seen that sort of backbitey type stuff in the paranormal world. And it really, that there's no place for that. It really shouldn't be like that. We should all be supporting and helping each other.
You're right. It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately it is. We have to deal with the egos of other people.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's so uncalled for.
It really is, because we're doing this, number one, because we love it. Number two, because we want to help people. I can't go to sleep at night knowing that there is a mother or a father out there that is absolutely scared because their child has just been tormented by whatever's going on. And then you've got your thrill seeker paranormal people. They'll go and they'll investigate somebody's home and then get all of this great evidence and go, oh, well, sorry, don't know what to do for you. But another thing that drives me crazy is the ones that charge to do this, and they charge for cleansings, because I've done a few cleansings, and that's crazy. I swear.
Yeah, that's not right.
No, the charging, and people don't understand that you should never be charged to do this.
Never.
Ever. And you've got the wrong person if you've been charged.
Exactly. I mean, it's all research too. I mean, we're doing these investigations to hopefully get some information to understand what is happening. And once you publicize a case, that goes out into the world, and so we you see it on a podcast, or you read it in a book, and that maybe will help someone else. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck was I going through? And then I listened to a podcast and I heard someone else or saw a TV show and saw the exact same thing. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy then. I really did. You know what I mean? So again, it should be this really supportive network. And the people with the egos need to be kind of ran out of town. You know what I mean? The people that charge and the people that are, got attitudes and all that crap, they really shouldn't be in this, because they're in it for the wrong reasons.
Right. And my primary goal here is to raise our awareness of any topic, UFOs, ghosts, whatever it is. I don't care. I don't necessarily believe in any of it, but I'm willing to listen to anyone's story. And when you tell a story like yours, maybe somebody hears this, later on and say, oh, we need to talk to her, and try to reach out and see what she can help us with, and that's why I like these podcasts, because so many times I have found somebody on Facebook or emailed somebody when they left their contact information for, get in touch with, and it was more or less for me to get more confirmation of what I am not believing or that I'm a skeptic about, and then to hear their story and they validate what they're talking about, that really helps me understand more. And then I can actually talk to somebody else or help somebody else with the situation,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I appreciate about these podcasts. On any channel, I believe we're a community, not a competition.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got to realize nobody has all the answers. You know what I mean? And every investigation or every podcast, everything we're trying to get those answers, or we're trying to get a little bit more understanding. And it's, again, it just should be all supportive. I really don't understand the competition. It's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But we should try as a group of people to keep in contact, of course, and we should try to really help people. Like if I hear somebody that has your experiences, well, you can contact her, and try to get something worked out. And if you can't help anyone at the moment, you can at least, pass them to the next person that might be able to,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've referred people to other people. Someone writes me and I say, well, I don't know much about that, but I did interview someone that, and so, you just try to, again, it should be just this network of support. And I'll refer people to, everyone, or I'll send a podcast that I heard that sounds a lot like, say Terry Lovelace. There was a couple of things that he mentioned in his encounters, and anytime I hear something in a podcast where someone has almost the exact same encounter, I'll send those to him. Or Jordan Cobble, Deborah White Cobble, whatever. She always jokes she has a lot of names, but I can never remember them. But it's Deborah Cobble. I interview with her, and there's times when I'll hear an encounter that sounds almost like hers, and I send it to her. Same thing with my friend Ryan Patrick Burns. He frequents the Uinta Basin and Skinwalker Ranch, and he's had a lot of experiences out there. So we're just all connected, and I really wish people would not make it a business venture per se. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be monetized. I really believe it's like we're just all kind of starting at a base level where we're just trying to understand what's happening here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And where can we find your book? I wanted to get that out before you want to go to sleep.
Oh, it's only 8:20 here. I'm okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So basically, the Boogeyman Chronicles is my book, and it's really anywhere you can get a book, on online these days. But Amazon is usually where people go to get it, and my podcast is on YouTube for now, but we're gonna move to Anchor and whatnot. But yeah, it's on YouTube, and it's just the Boogeyman Chronicles. And my email address, if anyone ever wants to write me, I've had a handful of people write me in the last few months, and it's great hearing from people and stuff like that. But my email address is boogeymanchronicles@outlook.com.
All right.
Also do readings. So yeah.
Someone else uses Outlook.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I do readings. I do a lot of medium work. People want to reach out to a loved one. I even do pets as well. So, if anyone wants to contact me, I can, set something up.
You do. I had a dog that died a while back in 2005, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I don't know if she would still be around to talk to me.
Good.
Yeah,
That was
of course she
17
is.
years ago. Wow.
But I had her. She was I got her when she was 8 weeks old, and she was what was it 13 years old when she died.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in my arms when she died, so that was really hard.
I'm so sorry.
She was like, I didn't have any kids, and she was my kid, and so it was like that's just kind of really sad. I don't want to have another animal because I don't want to go through that pain again. You know. So
Yeah.
I enjoy just the natural animals, the birds, the squirrels, rabbits out there, in the yard. And
Oh, Ron, please tell me you don't enjoy the 5 cats and the dog that I have that totally interrupt the show
they are
constantly.
fun. They are fun to watch. Yes.
Well, you
But
need
on
to
your,
get 2, 3 more.
they're fun to watch on your end, though. I don't want to have them here.
Okay.
I've got 3 dogs, so I know that feeling where they're your kids, and my dogs are like older now, and you kind of get to that point where it's just like, oh no, I don't want to have to put up with this again, losing it because I lost my first dog in my arms too, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
So
and
sorry.
That's just really hard when that hits you right in the heart like that, and it's like I don't want to deal with that ever again. That's worse
Mhm.
than almost. Not saying that it's any better than or any worse than losing a family member, but when
Well,
you're
it's the same
close,
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yes.
And so maybe we can get together at some point when you have some free time, and we can explore if there's any messages that you might have for my situation.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Send me a picture.
all right.
Don't tell me any names or anything like that. Just send me a picture.
All right, yep, I can do that. All right, and then I can just wait for your response and see what you get. So that'll be fun. I never
Yeah.
had that done before, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I am glad that you were able to do this tonight, and hopefully we can chat again, and maybe you'll have better internet speed when
But
we get.
we managed to get done
Yeah.
through the gremlins and everything else.
How
Oh
many
gosh,
hours?
yeah.
How many hours, Charles? An hour and a half, 2 hours?
Hour and a half,
Yeah.
pretty much.
You've
Okay.
taken away an hour and a half of her life. So yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
She
fine.
can never get
No,
that back.
I enjoyed it, and yeah, I'm gonna try to figure out how to do StreamYard because this is like the second time that the camera does not connect. I don't know why. And I did StreamYard before, and it did fine, but now for some reason it's not working. So I'm like really,
Uh-huh.
I'm really annoyed by that. But yeah, it's just very strangely, I've been having a lot of tech demons, little tech gremlins that have been following me around the last few podcasts. So I don't know. Weird.
Well, I've noticed something for myself in my klutzy way of going around here. Do you have Skype active?
I don't think so. I don't really
Okay.
do Skype.
Because sometimes if the camera is
Or Zoom.
is if the camera is in use on those programs, it won't connect with the StreamYard. They fight. They don't get along well.
And if you want some help with that, maybe one of us can try to help you with how to pick the right camera on the
or
screen.
we can
Ron's going to drive from
or we can send
Minnesota,
someone who really knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
and Charles
Yeah,
will drive from Ohio. They'll come help you, dear.
I'm the
Okay.
only Yankee. I'm the only Yankee here, and Charles
Charles.
is Ohio, and then Maria is like farthest south.
I'm Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm in Ohio, but I'm a transplant. I'm from south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, my family is all my kin are from North and South Carolina, so
Yeah, I lived in, of course, born and raised in California, and then I lived in North Carolina for 9 years. This was all after my 4 years of the service. Then, so I went all around the world practically, and then lived in North Carolina for 9 years after I got tired of family and California and everything. I said, I'm done with this place. I'm out of here. And went to North Carolina, and I went from about $10 an hour, I guess, for working overnight to $3.75 for the minimum wage.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
that was a shocker.
Oh my goodness, that was yikes.
I survived. I learned how to survive on nothing, and got by and lived. And then after 9 years, I said, I'm done with this state. I'm moving up north to Minnesota. I want to see what the winter's about. I don't know if I said that necessarily,
Yeah,
but
You
Big
you
dumbass.
fool.
here
that is
21 years.
Minnesota's jumping right in like feet first.
I've been here 21 years though, so I guess it's something. But now I'm ready for Arizona. I'm ready for the heat, 125 degrees.
Oh
But
God, no.
I don't want no more snow though. I'm tired of the snow.
Well,
Yeah, it gets old.
it does get old. It does.
But
Well,
As,
thank you.
as Maria looks out her window.
yeah.
We can see the snow. I can see the snow blowing around out there.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, the funny thing about it was 60 degrees today.
Oh, okay.
See, we have
And the
that
low
clear
tonight
sky.
is going to be in the teens, and tomorrow the wind chills are going to be in the single digits,
Oh,
and
no.
then
Oh, my
Wednesday
goodness.
it will be 75.
Oh,
So
boy.
welcome to
Lord.
Kentucky.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
just what we go through. But thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining,
Yes,
Ron,
it has been
putting up.
it has
with
been a
the
pleasure
fun.
meeting you.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you can always you're always welcome back, and you can keep in touch with me on if you do Facebook or
Hmm.
if you send me an email or whatever, and you want to share another story or share something else, or if you have a guest that you want to share, like if you want to
Yeah.
help talk with them more or whatever, and I'm always hoping for extra time for anybody that wants extra time.
And
to
Ron's
talk.
really not as creepy as he seems. He's really a good guy.
No.
Just thought I'd throw that
Aw.
out there.
Well, I mean, I'm starting on my next 2 books, so yeah. I mean, I'll
Oh, there you
definitely
go.
let you know.
All right. So
Wonderful.
more stories from you then.
Yep, more stories.
Oh, great. Well, I better get this first one. I read the outline that Philip sent me, and I think I asked him for the PDF part, but I don't know if I got that or if I did get it. It was on my other computer. I think I go through computers like used cars, you know.
Because Ron doesn't take care of his toys. He's one of those kids. He just
He's rough
he
on
doesn't
things.
appreciate what mommy and daddy spend on him, so he just
Rough
I
on-
spend.
yeah.
I buy my own, thank you. But anyway,
So it's even worse.
yeah.
yeah. But hopefully this one will last a little bit longer. Has a doesn't have the regular hard drive, has the SSD drive in it, so no moving parts for that.
Mhm.
And so that really makes a lot more sense than the old drive that was a spinning disc that would
Nobody
break down.
understands what you're talking about, Ron.
Right, I know.
Seriously,
All
seriously.
all
I know
right,
you
well,
try to educate us, but yeah, it's not happening. But
that's
anyway,
right.
thank you so
Not
much.
for a tech dummy
joining
like
us
me.
tonight. You're right.
Well, yeah, thank you again, and we'll keep in touch, like I said, on email and things like that. And please come back. And,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys need anything, let me know.
all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care,
All right.
y'all.
All right. Good
Okay.
night.
Good night, dear.
Night.
All right. Well,
Good
thank you, Charles and Maria. Thank you for helping out. A little bit different show. I didn't know what to expect.
Quite
She's a sweetie.
enjoyable. She is very.
I
sweet
can't
woman.
believe I was awake to even join into this.
Oh, wow.
Welcome.
Oh, I didn't
We're
see.
glad to have you.
What's
I
the
didn't
odds?
see Bobby. I didn't see Bobby there.
Bobby's here.
He
Yep.
said he wanted to come in. Do you still want to pop in, Bobby? I can send you the link if you wanted to have Bobby talk for a minute. There. Okay, hold on. I'll get it to him. I didn't know he wanted to. I didn't see that message until just now.
Well, it just now popped up. I mean, it was
Okay, yeah, it's a little
10:30
delay.
and it popped in at 10:29. So
It's a little bit of a delay too. And there you go, Bobby. You can step in if you want and say hello to everybody.
why is
Yes.
Amanda's picture my default picture?
Oh,
What did
I
you
It's
do,
know.
mine
Ron?
too. And Ron's.
I
don't
didn't
know
know
what
is it?
happened.
it happened to me
Yeah.
too.
My sweet Amanda. I guess it's better than having Ron's picture up there.
Oh, no.
How did I turn my camera?
You should be able to change that on yours.
Yep. You see?
I didn't see if I
I
do
can't
that.
find where to change the default.
There you go.
Yeah,
we got
see?
three- now we got
Okay,
three
wait a minute.
Amandas.
Y'all, I'm going to have to take a picture of this and send that to Amanda because that's just,
That's just creepy, isn't it?
that is some creepy shit.
Oh boy. Oh, this is fun. Fun with StreamYard. What else can we do?
Yeah, I want to know what you did, Ron, to
No.
get
I
Amanda's
didn't do
picture.
nothing. Amanda was here helping Charles and myself on.
Oh, so apparently she did it? Are you blaming Amanda?
Well, I didn't do it. I don't know how to do that. So I know how
I
to
don't
change my
either.
own picture.
I'm looking through the controls and I can't find that.
Well,
place
I went
where
to
that
the settings and I
image
couldn't
is
find it
stored.
either.
So Amanda knows how to do that, though. I do not.
She does. I'm so sending that to her in Messenger right now.
And then she'll have to change. She'll have to log in and change it on her own.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
But okay, I increased the hours on this StreamYard. I got 400 hours that I purchased, and the renewal for the service fee and the storage fee is a little bit of a chunk at once, but it's not due until March. I found another little platform though that we can actually earn tips on, which is right now you can earn tips on it. And so, like, if you wanted to, if we're doing something, a show over there at some point, and somebody wants to leave a couple of bucks on that site, that's on Mixcloud.com, and you just look for Errt Radio channel. And there's a tip button there. You can just leave a gift or whatever, and that would just help us run this. So, and that even costs money to do that, but that's not as much as StreamYard. But this particular Mixcloud, you can, as far as I know of, you only got 2 locations you can stream to, and that's Facebook and Twitter. I don't do Twitter much, and Facebook is the only one that I use. And what is Bobby saying now?
He said it's too late.
Oh, okay, I got that part. I saw that.
That's an old Def Leppard song. That's a good song.
Andy sent me the picture that you just said.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy. Now you're incriminating me more. Thank you. Even though I can say all I want, I can say, I don't know how to do that. Well, how come you got the picture all over the place? What's going on?
My God, she wants everybody to know who she is and that she is in control, whether you think she is or not.
Commander, right? That's what she's called.
It's exactly right. All right. Well, I'm going to bail on you guys.
Well, thank you. Make sure if you do your little visiting this weekend, somebody gets their gift that I sent.
I have the package in my truck. I never took it out of it because I knew I'd forget to take it to Kevin.
Good.
Oh boy.
And if I can remember to take the package out of the truck.
Well, if you need me to text you and let you know, then I'll do that.
I'm sure you will. So anyways, y'all have a good night.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Good night, Andy.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles, for helping out tonight. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. It was an enjoyable evening.
And thank you for everyone being here.
I think we all had a good session tonight.
Yeah, and sorry about not seeing that message, Bobby. It was too late for me to see it, and MG was already here for almost 2 hours. She was ready to call it a night anyway, and she's on West Coast time, so but still it might be late for her. And yeah, that's what's nice about this is, like I said, it just goes right up to YouTube. It'll stay there forever, until we get rid of it. But okay, Mark is live. No, okay. Well, I'll try to go over there
to view the skies of Arizona.
Oh yeah. Now, did you go ahead and stop the Mixler side now?
No, I will. Okay. I will momentarily.
Oh, wonderful! All right, we'll get on out of here then. And thank you again for everyone joining us. And it was a fun interview. I enjoyed that.
Yes.
And we did let her talk quite a bit. And then we just had to share some of our own stories. And I think that's the main thing about having a roundtable discussion. We can all take turns. And then the guest doesn't get wore out trying to explain everything. And that's what I like about it. You know what I mean? So, Mariana's back. Oh, that's wonderful. We need to get over there and say hi. Okay. All right. Thank you, Andy. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Good night, guys.
All right. Good night. Go ahead and sign out. And we'll see everybody next time. Thank you for joining us tonight. And have a great night. And if you have nice weather, get out there and enjoy it.